This is from Dawg Pound Daily as well. 3 nightmare scenarios for the Browns in 2023. Number 3, the revamped defense doesn't pan out. Number 2, Nick Chubb starts to slow down. And number 1, Deshaun Watson doesn't return to form. Any of those 3 are not good for what is expected to be a pretty big season for the Browns.
Yeah, when you think of all those really are the nightmare scenarios. If this revamped defense doesn't pan out, I think we're all convinced that nobody is able to get the best out of these players on defense. If Jim Schwartz can't do it, I don't know what you do. I think you have to look at trying to trade some guys at that point, because Jim Schwartz is truly one of the best defensive coordinators in the NFL and has proven that throughout his time as a defensive coordinator and won a Super Bowl as defensive coordinator of the Eagles. So there's plenty of talent on this defense. And we all believe Joe Woods, just his defense was too confusing for these guys. If Jim Schwartz can't get the best out of these guys, I don't know what you do. Nick Chubb starting to slow down is one that kind of worries me a little bit, but at the same time, the Browns have had Kareem Hunt these last couple of years, so Nick Chubb isn't getting the same amount of carries as Jonathan Taylor, as Derrick Henry, Alvin Kamara, some of these other elite running backs in the NFL. And then Deshaun Watson returning to form. I think that one's legitimate, but at the same time, we know he was rusty from this past year. Again, when you're not playing for nearly 2 years, anyone would be rusty in that situation. So I'm not necessarily as worried about Deshaun Watson returning to form. I think the biggest one for me is Nick Chubb starting to slow down a little bit, because when you're 28 years old, approaching 29, that's around the time in your NFL career as a running back that you do start to slow down a little bit. But again, the good news with Nick Chubb, he's had Kareem Hunt these last couple of years to really take some of the load off of him. And I think that's really beneficial. And I think that could even prolong Nick Chubb's career. So definitely some nightmare scenarios, but you know what? We're all going to hope for the best, and hopefully none of those play out this season.
Well, the other thing about Nick Chubb, though, is the way, and we've seen it on social media, the way he works out. That's another thing that there have been a number of guys that have gone into their early to mid-30s at a high level. Adrian Peterson comes to mind.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, absolutely. The fact that Adrian Peterson even talked about that he would still like to play if he was given the opportunity. And we saw how long Frank Gore was able to play as an NFL player. So if Nick Chubb continues to take care of his body the way he is, and the Browns are not giving him consistently 300 carries per season, Nick Chubb could be in the mold of Adrian Peterson, just continuing to extend his NFL career. So really hope that is the case for him.